A very good evening to you from wherever you're watching us. It is the 6th of March 2023. What a comprehensive bulletin we have in store for you tonight. Let's take a look at our highlights. China Square resumes operations after talks between Kenyan government and Chinese community. Government allocates 60 billion Kenya shillings for pending bills in supplementary budget 2022-2023. President William Ruto launches Starehe affordable housing project expected to house 6,000 units. And former Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i ordered to appear before DCI tomorrow Tuesday on fresh summons. Welcome to the broadcast. Remember, we are streaming this broadcast live on our social media platforms at KUTV_Kenya. Remember, we are having Money Monday bulletin today. So stay tuned for that particular discussion later on in our broadcast. My name is ODIDA. I'm in the company of ODIHIAMBO, who is a sign language interpreter tonight. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, China Square has opened its doors again following an agreement between Kenyan government and Chinese traders. According to China Square owner Lei Cheng, he has welcomed the government's support in allowing the Chinese community to do business in Kenya, adding that it will contribute to the growth of the Kenyan economy.
A large number of Kenyans flocked to the China Square General Store after it reopened its doors to the public. The reopening comes days after Cabinet Secretary Trade Moses Kuria stated that he was going to close down the facility after local traders tabled their concerns due to the low prices recorded in the facility. The management led by Lei Cheng lauded government support in allowing the Chinese community to do business in Kenya, adding that it would contribute to the growth of the Kenyan economy. Additionally, statement from the Chinese Traders Association KCCC welcomed the Kenya government's action allowing those Chinese traders to start their activities again. According to customers who are at the shopping mall, the resumption of the China Square sales will be beneficial for the low prices they are experiencing.
I'm grateful for the decision that the government has taken to give us back our China Square, where we are getting all the household items in an affordable price. And as a person living along Thika Road, I don't have to go to town to do shopping.
In terms of price, mi naona it's fair, ni fair, pocket friendly, na pia ni hustler friendly. So mi kwa maoni yangu naona tu waruhusiwa waendelee wafanye kazi, mtu aende afanye shopping yake mahali anajisikia.
According to Chinese traders, they expect equal and fair treatment across all their business to create a conducive environment for their businesses. However, other traders near the facility expressed their joy, saying that the facility has pulled customers for them.
Nafanya hapa Camp Rabbit. Sisi ni neighbor wa China Square. Na kwa hakika China Square imetusaidia sana. Mimi naweza shukuru sana watu wa China Square juu hapo kitambo before ikuje kazi hapo pande yetu hapa Camp Rabbit ilikuwa chini. But for now wamevutia watu wengi sana, tumepata customer hapa. At least tunashukuru sana.
Earlier on Thursday, March 2nd, the Anti-Counterfeit Authority ACA had released goods worth 50 million to the business hub that were seized after complaints that the business infringed on intellectual property laws.
Now, President William Ruto has launched the construction of over 6,704 affordable housing units in Starehe area, Nairobi County. The project is part of the government's plan to increase the supply of new housing to 250,000 per year and percentage of affordable housing supply from 2% to 50%. The project will cost 13 billion Kenya shillings.
The Starehe Affordable Housing Project, which has today been launched by President William Ruto, is expected to be carried out in 5 phases over the next 3 years. Initially, about 300 houses occupied the 22 acres of land that had been occupied by tenants. However, the tenants had to relocate to pave way for the development. According to President Ruto, those tenants will be the first beneficiaries of the project.
Hapa nyumba zitajengwa 6,700. Mumesikia hapa kulikuwa na nyumba chache 300 houses na ilikuwa hii sehemu yote, lakini sasa tumekubaliana na wale ambao walitoka hapa, tukijenga hizi nyumba, wale watu walitoka hapa wakatupatia nafasi ya kujenga hizi nyumba watakuwa beneficiaries wa kwanza.
The housing project will comprise 6,700 units and 700 shops, thus creating over 10,000 job opportunities directly and indirectly for people living in Nairobi. Suleiman Shabal, the chairman of Gulf Cape Real Estate, has promised to work with Bilha Organization, Juakali Artisans, and other financial stakeholders to make the project successful.
Na Your Excellency, watu wa Juakali wanaweza kazi. Tuwasaidie na training, tuwasaidie na pesa kidogo, tuwasaidie na tenders, na hii kazi tutafanya.
The project seeks to provide fiber connectivity, LPG connectivity, club housing, multi-denominational prayer center, food courts, green spaces, amongst other facilities.
Of those 6,700 units, 2,000 of them will be social housing. Social housing ni zile za watu wa chini kabisa. Your Excellency, the number of jobs that will be created here will be unprecedented.
The Starehe development will be Ruto's 5th affordable housing project launched this year after Homa Bay, Ruiru, Kibra, and Shauri-Moyo. Kadari Chari reporting for KU TV.
Right now, President William Ruto has signed a supplementary budget authorizing the use of more than 60 billion Kenya shillings to clear pending bills by the government. According to the president, the bill will play a critical role in stimulating economic performance. The bill had been tabled in Parliament by Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro. The Supplementary Appropriation Bill, a National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2023, which was published on 28 February 2023, the name of Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, Chairperson Budget and Appropriations Committee, was signed on Monday by President William Ruto at State House, Nairobi. According to President Ruto, the move will ensure uninterrupted delivery of services to the people. In the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023, it seeks to give authority for the issuance of 200.7 billion Kenya shillings out of the Consolidated Fund and apply it towards the supply granted for the service of the year ending on 30th June 2023. The bill is intended to regularize 120 billion Kenya shillings in expenditure under Article 223 of the Constitution, including for the full subsidy program, the Fertilizer Subsidy Initiative, the Hustler Fund, drought mitigation efforts, enhanced security operations, and other similar programs. It also includes provisions for capitation for students entering junior secondary school, recruitment of additional teachers, and improvement of school infrastructure, as well as additional provisions for school feeding. According to the bill, the recruitment of additional teachers will absorb 6 billion shillings, school feeding under National Council of Nomadic Education NACONEC 2 billion shillings, drought mitigation 10 billion shillings, and fertilizer subsidy 15 billion shillings. In what signals the government's commitment to debt reduction through expenditure rationalization, the fiscal deficit has decreased from 6.2% of the gross domestic product GDP in initial estimates to 5.7% of GDP. Also present in the ceremony were Attorney General Justin Muturi, Speaker of the National Assembly Moses Wetangula, National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, and Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro, who is also the chairperson of the Budget and Appropriation Committee. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta administration officials could be charged in relation with the loss of 34 billion shillings in the oil subsidies scandal. According to special audit report submitted to Parliament last Thursday, 34 billion shillings was spent outside the mandate of the Petroleum Development Levy Fund, with some funds being transferred to other ministries to perform unrelated functions.
The Auditor General of Government's Accounts, Nancy Katungu, provided a special audit report in Parliament that shows that 4 billion shillings of the fuel subsidy program was lost. And according to research, money from the Petroleum Development Levy Fund was supposed to be paid to fuel marketers. According to Nancy's statement to the Parliament, 554.72 million shillings were paid to more than 11 oil dealers. The fuel subsidy program was aimed at avoiding the rising prices of fuel, which had hit a high level of 177.3 shillings per litre. Approximately 22.68 billion shillings from the Petroleum Development Levy Fund was wrongly spent, while 5.32 billion was used for irregular advances sales prices. Another 3.2 billion was used for irregular demurrage charges, while 2.21 billion was paid in administrative expenses. Some of those funds were also transferred to other ministries for unbudgeted works. The report stated that 18.14 billion was used to fund road projects by the State Department of Infrastructure. These projects included the National Roads Authority of Kenya receiving 531.78 million, the Rural Roads Authority receiving 17.16 billion, and the Urban Road Authority receiving 373 million. Additionally, 75 million was transferred to the Ministry of Operation, while 4.5 billion being transferred to the Ministry of Energy. Therefore, the former Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuru Yatani could be expected to answer questions regarding misuse of the fund.
All right, we are taking our very first short break at this point. Stay with us.
Welcome to Children's Corner. Welcome to Children's Corner. Children's Corner.
Kurunzi ya kilimo kuimarisha afya na uchumi endelevu katika jamii ni msingi mkubwa wa kipindi Boresha Kilimo. Kipindi hiki kinajikita katika teknolojia ya kisasa, utafiti na ushirikishaji wa wadau wa kilimo kuonyesha shughuli mbalimbali shambani. Kwa suluhu ya utoshelevu wa chakula, tazama Boresha Kilimo.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za taarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani swaibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalunukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
So TB is, simply put, it is a human infection that is caused by the bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis.
Okay.
So this is a germ that enters the body, and when it causes disease, then we tend to talk about tuberculosis. So there are a lot of myths around TB. However, to say that we should avoid alcohol is not so far off, because TB drugs, like many other drugs, are metabolized, or they go through to be processed through the liver, and they are excreted by the kidneys.
Let us go for tests in order to know whether we have active or maybe latent TB, and TB can definitely be treated. You do not have to worry. I've been your host, Barry Michelle. Until next time, stay safe and stay healthy.
We are all seeing the impacts of climate change. In Kenya, for example, the frequency of the floods is becoming more and worse. The amount of people and livestock we are losing.
The level we need to go is a level where the normal mwananchi and also the government stakeholders can uptake these solutions.
Those small acts multiplied by millions of us will help make a difference in the world at the end of the day.
It's just a slight behavior change that we need, and you'll find that it serves us a bit more than you put in. And that's the goal. We want to live a better world than we found, because at the rate we are going, it's dire.
We will secure the planet for future generations.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mukwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu umwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia,
they find it quite strange talking to you.
You should just make schools integrated,
inclusive setups,
by providing the right facilities.
A loving husband and father. Nothing is too good for my daughter. An ambitious businessman with a dark secret. A girl with a whole life in front of her, plunging into a marriage that she did not choose with the wrong man.
I'm not ready to marry Zewa.
But who is the right one? I love Nambi. A rock star, living the dream. But the babes keep chasing me, I guess. It ain't easy being famous, especially with so many glamorous women around. A woman hell-bent on revenge.
He will pay.
Seductive, dangerous. She is a predator. Everybody needs it. Everybody wants it. They will do anything to get it. Love and wealth.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za tarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani, swaibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalunukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's continue with our coverage. There are a number of investments which we have so far done here on Money Monday. Treasury bills and treasury bonds are one among many of these investment options. These government securities have been termed riskless, and the risk of default or repayment to the investor is low, if not nil. This probably sounds so nice. So we have our guest in studio who is not so new to the show to shed light on these government securities. Michael Thotho is back. Welcome back to studio, Mike.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming back. So just maybe somebody is watching us for the first time. Just tell us who you are.
All right, good. Again, thank you for the invite. For the viewers at home, my name is Michael Thotho, and I am the programs manager at Centonomy Limited, where we train people how they can create wealth through managing their personal finances, through investing, and yes, through growing their businesses.
Right.
And today I'm here to talk about investments. Yes.
Yeah, the last time you were here, we talked about
investments, especially on the stock market.
Yeah.
And we are going to do just a bit of a recap, and then we get into bonds and treasury bills.
Perfect. Would you want to recap that? You said we want to recap before we get into government bonds.
So if you remember our last conversation, we were talking about investing, and especially investing in the stock market. And I said before even deciding to invest, that we should think about our goal, right? And I mentioned 3 key goals for the viewers who have been following the Money series. They will remember the goals that we talked about was capital preservation, income, capital growth. So we talked about capital preservation, which simply means saving, and then we talked about income, which means an investment that is giving you income before the time lapses. And then we talked about capital growth, where shares were falling. Today we're going to talk about income, and treasury bonds fall under that category.
All right, now let's just begin by briefly having a description of what treasury bills and treasury bonds are, and how different are they from other investment options, especially the stock market that we talked about in our last segment with you.
All right, great. I think the best place to always start is with introductions.
Yeah.
Okay. So treasury bonds, whenever you hear the word treasury bond or bond, just know that it is a form of borrowing. All right. So there can be treasury bond. When you hear treasury bond, it means borrowing by the government. There is also corporate bonds, which means borrowing by corporate organization or by entities, right? Yes. But today we are going to talk about treasury bonds. So treasury bonds is borrowing from by the government from us, the people, the citizens. So just like you and I, Anne, the government sometimes goes broke, and it needs extra money to do certain things. For instance, budgetary support. There's also building of infrastructure, and when the government doesn't have enough money, it comes to us, the citizens, and borrows from us through issuing what we call a bond. Yes.
So government bonds have been they're arguably the safest platform to invest in. If you're saying that government sometimes go broke, so how safe are these government bonds?
The government sometimes actually even takes a bond to pay another bond. Yes. So when we talk about security, especially in terms of government bonds, they are actually referred to as fixed income securities. So that means that they are secure. And I can assure you, from the time the Kenya government was in place in 1963, Paka Leo, it has never defaulted on a bond it has issued to the citizens.
Okay, so government bonds are things that started just not now.
Yes, a very, very long time ago.
Okay.
And they have been secure. And one thing that we need to understand about bonds is that they are long-term investments. So bonds can even go up to 20 years.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So maybe tell our viewer, tell us, okay, we are all learning the types of treasury bills and treasury bonds.
All right, great. So let me talk about treasury bonds, right? So we have treasury bonds, and I said that is a form of borrowing by the government, and it borrows from us, the people.
Yeah.
And it does this through it invites us to bid for a bond.
Yeah.
All right. Now there's a normal treasury bond, and then there's another bond called an infrastructure bond. Right. Now the normal treasury bond is the government that borrows for budgetary purposes, but whenever you see an infrastructure bond, the government is specifically borrowing to come up with infrastructure, bridges, roads, name it, right? So there's the normal bond, and then there's the infrastructure bond. Now, the difference between these two is, there are a few differences, right? Now, for the normal bond, the treasury bond, that is, for you to invest as an investor, you are required to have at least 50,000 shillings. But for the infrastructure bond, you are required to have 100,000 shillings, right? So the infrastructure bond is a bit expensive to get into. And second difference between the two bonds is the treasury bond that I was talking about earlier is taxed. But the infrastructure bond is tax exempt. Yes. So investors who are investing in infrastructure bonds, they do not pay tax on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Now tell us how pardon me for that. How do they work in Kenya? The T-bonds and T-bills.
All right, great. Again, let me talk about bonds. I'll talk about bills later, right?
Okay.
Because there's a slight difference.
All right.
Right. So this is how bonds work. I said bonds, remember, is a form of borrowing. If treasury, by the government, right? Normal bond and then infrastructure bond, right? Now, the government invites us, the citizens, to place bids for to participate in the bond. And we, the citizens, we bid. And by bidding simply means we tell the government what we want as the rate of return, which is called coupon in bond terms, right? So whenever you say coupon is the rate of return, that is the interest that you will be earning from the bond. Now, earlier on I said that bonds will give you income as an investment, right? And then I also said that bonds are long term. So we can have a bond that goes up to 20 years, right? So this is how bonds work. They give you income every year, but twice a year, right? So they will give you what we call coupon, which is the rate of return. So let's say let's do some quick math, right? So we're investing in a bond of 100,000 Kenya shillings, right? 100,000, and the coupon that we're getting is 15% per annum, right? So if we do 15% per annum of 100,000, that comes to 15,000, right? So that means that year that bond will pay us 15,000. But bonds will pay semi-annually. That means they will pay 2 times a year. So that means 6 months we'll get 7,500, and then another 6 months we'll get 7,500 to make up 15,000 for the year. All right? Now that is where the income part comes in. So let's say this bond that we are buying for 100,000, we bought it in January, right? So that means when it comes to June, we'll get our first pay of 7,500. December, our second pay of 7,500. Now, if this bond we've bought is up to 20 years, we'll be getting that money for up to 20 years. So every 6 months, you are assured, like clockwork, that the government will pay you back.
Okay,
and
but
then, at the end of the term, the government will return your initial investment of 100,000. Yes.
Okay. When we were talking about 15,000, is this 15,000 the standard amount that the government gives when you've invested?
Okay, now that was for illustration purposes.
Okay. I wanted to say 15,000 shillings is...
No. That again
little.
was for illustration purposes only.
All right.
Yes.
Now, who is eligible to buy treasury bonds?
Kenyan citizens are eligible so long as you are 18 years and above. You can participate in buying bonds. So what is required? If it is a normal bond is 50,000, an infrastructure bond is 100,000. So you buy bonds through the Central Bank of Kenya. So the Central Bank of Kenya acts as the intermediary. And you will need to open what we call a CDS account.
Okay.
So open a CDS account with Central Bank, and then you are able to purchase bonds.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what are the risks of investing in government bonds?
Okay. Number one, I said bonds are what we call fixed income securities. So the government will always pay, and it has always paid. Right?
Yeah.
Now, one risk is that it is long term, okay? And I said it can go up to 20 years.
Yeah.
And then another risk, or this may not be a risk per se, but a downfall or a disadvantage of bonds is that the interest does not compound. Okay?
Yeah.
So the interest we are getting, you remember with our example of 15,000, if that bond is for 20 years, we'll get 15,000 this year.
Yeah.
Even in the year 2040, we'll get 15,000. And you can tell 15,000 today and 15,000 in the year 2040, there's a difference, right? Because we always say a shilling today is stronger than a shilling tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So that is one downside about bonds, is the interest does not compound. So you'll be getting, let's say 15,000 for the rest of the term. Something else about bonds is that sometimes they can be a bit illiquid, meaning that for you to get out, you need to sell them. You remember I said they're long term. So you've bought a bond for 20 years and you want to get out of it. So what you need to do is you need to now go and sell it to the secondary market, which might take some time, right? Yes. But remember, if you are considering bonds, why you should consider bonds is if you need income. And bonds are good, especially for people who are in retirement. You know, the biggest problem in retirement is the lack of consistent income. You know, you've been working for so long, you've been used to an income every month, but now when you retire, you're like, there's no money coming in. So what you do is you can invest in a bond, right? And I also said that bonds will pay you every 6 months. You will see in between the 6 months, you will not have an income. So what you can do, you can buy a bond every month, right? So that every month, every other month after the first sixth month, you'll be getting income for the rest of the bonds that you have bought.
Perfect.
Yes.
Now, let's get out of that a little. Are foreign investors also allowed to invest in these securities? Let's say in Kenya.
I am not sure about that, and I don't want to lie on national television. But the government invites, especially us, the citizens, to bid for these bonds. And I would just like to say this, that there's actually a bond that is ending tomorrow, that the closing date is tomorrow, and it's an infrastructure bond. And if you have 100,000, rush quickly to the central bank nearest to you, and you can be able to purchase that infrastructure bond. Yes, and you will be enjoying interest of probably 14%, which is currently higher than the inflation rate, meaning you will be getting some good money. And I don't think there's any investment that's giving 14% at the moment, but the downside is, again, it's not compounding. Yes, and then also it will be tax-free because it's an infrastructure bond.
All right.
Yes.
Now, Michael, I had asked who is eligible to buy treasury bonds, and he said everyone, but somebody who has 50,000 shillings for a start. What about the common mwananchi? Now, somebody at home who is watching and really want to invest in these government bonds, but is hearing 50,000 shillings.
I know. It can be a bit expensive. So what the government had tried to do, it had come up with a way of everyone to try to get into bonds, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't really work out because people did not subscribe to it as much as the government wanted. So there was a bond that was people were able to buy on phone with just 3,000.
Okay.
But that didn't work out as much. So the government, I think, is not offering that anymore. But for you out there and you want to buy bonds, but you do not have the 50,000 or 100,000, what we advise you do is you get into a unit trust, which will invest in a bond. And this type of unit trust can be a fixed income fund or a bond fund. This type of unit trusts, they will generally invest in bonds.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, according to the Central Bank of Kenya, Michael, the previous average interest rates for the 91-day Treasury bill is 9.655%.
Yes.
For the 182-day Treasury bill is 10%, and for the 364-day Treasury bill is 10.7%. Now, currently, citizens have been decrying tough economic times, with the 12-month inflation rate for January 2023 being 8.98%. Now, are the Treasury bills or bonds really a good security to counter high inflation rates?
All right, great. And it's good that you've introduced Treasury bills, and I said we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So allow me to talk about Treasury bills and how they differ from bonds. So you've mentioned three types of Treasury bills: 91-day, 180-day, and 360-day, right?
Yeah.
So bills are short-term. Again, they are short-term, but they're also offered by the government. So you'll have one going for 3 months, which is the 90-day, one going for 6 months, and then one going for 1 year, which is the maximum, right? And bills will differ from bonds in that the minimum required is 100,000.
Okay.
And the process is the same. You go through central bank, and then this time, how bills work is they work through a process called discounting. Okay, so let's say the coupon rate we are getting from this Treasury bill is 10%. So if you do 10% of 100,000 is that's 10,000, right? So that means instead of buying that bill for 100,000, we'll buy it at a discount of that 10%. So we'll buy it less 10,000. So we'll buy it at 90,000. And then at the end of the period, be it 90-day, 181-day, or 364 days, we'll get our 100,000 back, right? So you asked whether they are able to beat inflation, and we can do some quick math. You said the inflation rate for the year is
8.98%.
8.98%, and then you said the rate of return for the 91-day Treasury bill is?
The 91-day T-bill is 9.65%.
So you can see it has beaten inflation by 1 point something percent.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, from the government and the regulatory Central Bank of Kenya point of view, how are the government security used to regulate the economy? And
So,
in your opinion, how effective are they?
So I said that bonds are a way of borrowing by the government. So if the government needs to do something and it doesn't have money, it will come to us, the citizens, to raise money, right? Again, I said it could be budgetary support, and they can do so many things with budgetary support. Can pay teachers, pay nurses, all these things. And then it could also mean infrastructure. So building roads, building dams, bridges, all these types of infrastructure, that is what the government will borrow. And now you can see the general effect of that is that if we build roads, then we are able to transport our goods from here to there, from the market, to the shamba to the market. So that is how the government will use the money gotten from the bonds to improve infrastructure, and that improvement of infrastructure will have a knock-on effect on the economy as a whole.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Michael, any parting shot before we close it?
Yes, I would like to urge the viewers there, if you would like to get into bonds, you can consider it, because it is a secure investment. The government has always paid back. But what you need to know is that it does not compound. So the coupon you'll be earning today is the same that you'll be earning even 17 years down the line, especially for the bond that is closing tomorrow, the infrastructure bond. But it can be a good source of income. So instead of you only relying on one source of income, you can invest some money and then you have another source of income that is secure, that you are assured that you will get at the end of every 6 months. And the government will actually tell you the date. So that date, money will hit your account.
Perfect.
Yes.
Now, I'm hoping that the next time we're having a discussion with you, you'll tell us more about Centonomy, because it looks like you people are having a lot of things to teach right there.
Sure, for sure.
Right, that was just an introduction to government bonds. We'll be having a continuation to this conversation probably on Biashara Tuesday with Richard Okenye. So look out for that particular discussion, still with Michael Thotho. Thank you so much, Mike, for making time for us tonight. Now, we are taking another short break at this point. Stay with us.
Revenge was his mission.
Subhanaka Allahumma Rabbana wa bihamdika.
Tough choices was what she was left with. The battle between the two puts the whole city in danger.
Lulu Maua.
Nothing changed.
I will do it myself.
I've seen the injustices and the prejudices that the blind face in this our world.
I can't do it.
Jenny! Kafir!
Hello everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have box exercise, we'll have kata box, just name them. The show comes every Thursday from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. Keep it locked. Make sure we keep fit. And that's it from me to you. Let's be fit.
Nimezaliwa hapa. So nimeishi kwa miaka mingi sana. More than 30 years.
It's a source of income. Natupatia do. Ndio maana tunaona tuventure kwa ipande ya West. Natupatia income.
Ile challenge kubwa ilikuwa ni garbage. So tukaona like tukiclean mtaa tunaweza create employment na pia tunaweza ishi kwa mtaa safi.
Welcome back. Now let's continue. President William Ruto has called out bosses asking women for dates in exchange for job opportunities. Speaking during the launch of an affordable housing project in Starehe constituency in Nairobi, the president condemned the harassment of women, especially in those in the informal sector. President Ruto specifically warned managers in the construction industry that he will not condone exploitation of women. Ruto's remarks came in the wake of a BBC expose Z on the sexual harassment of female tea pickers in various tea farms in Kericho County. A report that exposed how highly placed individuals in companies contracted by the tea producers solicited sexual favors from women seeking job opportunities.
Kuna watu wanawapatia mateso. Kuna watu wanawaangaisha. Sijui nitakupatia date. Sijui nitakupatia nini. Mama amekuja kufanya kazi, hajakuja kutafuta date. Wewe kama unatafuta date, kwenda tafuta date mahali ingine.
Okay, First Lady Mama Rachel Ruto officially launched the Digital Skills Literacy Program in partnership with Computers for Schools in Kenya in Nairobi's Embakasi East constituency. The launch today is aligned with the 2023 International Women's Day theme dubbed Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality, a powerful declaration aimed at leaving no woman behind in the digital revolution. The training targets to train women in 500 women groups in Nairobi before rolling out to other counties. The training will further enable the targeted women to access online services, including the more than 5,000 government processes and services set to be digitized by June 2023.
The launch today is significant as it is aligned with the 2023 International Women's Day theme, which is Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality.
A middle-aged man has been found fatally wounded and thrown into a thicket at Ageti village in Teso, South Busia County. The unidentified body was discovered by primary school pupils on their way to school at 6 a.m., having allegedly been dumped at night. The incident was brought to the attention of area residents who have decried increasing cases of insecurity in the expansive village. Confirming the incident, Airstrip Police in charge OCS Fares Nyakongo attributed the matter to the porous border between Kenya and Uganda, adding that there are high chances the victim had been brought from a distant location. He, however, assured residents that a joint security task force involving police, Ministry of Interior, Busia County government and members of the community had been formed to unveil what transpired and ensure the culprits are brought to book. Elsewhere, Chemase Secondary School in Tinderet, Nandi County has been closed indefinitely following the death of a Form 1 student. Calvin Kiptanui, 16 years, died on Sunday, 2 days after he was caned by his teachers for cheating in a test. A crisis meeting is currently taking place in relation to the matter. Kiptanui was barely a week old at the school, having reported late due to school fees challenges. Investigations into the matter is ongoing. Now, the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF, for Mathioya constituency, Murang'a County, is working on plans to construct a school for learners with special needs. The area MP, Edwin Mugo, has observed that they have identified a piece of land where the school will be constructed to help learners living with disabilities to have a better learning environment.
The National Government Constituency Development Fund in Mathioya, Murang'a County, has initiated plans to build a school for students with special needs. Edwin Mugo, Member of Parliament for Mathioya, said that they have identified a piece of land where the school will be built to help the learners with the disabilities to have a better environment to get education.
And in future, we are planning to build a school for them here in Mathioya so that also they can be trained, because as we say, disability is not inability.
The MP has also stated that he has written to relevant government agencies about the special school, saying that after getting approval from the Ministry of Education, the constructions will kick off.
Because our aim, or my aim as a member of parliament, and your parents, because they are the ones who apply on your behalf, is to make sure that we keep you in school. Then the rest is for you to work hard so that we can improve the education standard.
The Member of Parliament was speaking at Kiriaine Mixed Secondary Schools, where he distributed Kenya shillings 15 million bursary for learners who enrolled in the secondary schools. Wilson Tobiko, KU TV.
Right now, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu, together with Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi Mohamud, sent food aid to Wajir County as one way to fight the epidemic of hunger and drought. The leaders have also supplied diesel fuel to be used by vehicles to transport water in different areas of Wajir. They have promised to help the residents of Wajir as well as the students in the schools by ensuring there is no shortage of water or food.
Mheshimiwa Rais ametoa pesa kwa Ministry ya Education ndio watoto wetu kwa shule waweze kupata chakula mwaka huu. Ile pesa ametoa ni bilioni 2
wa kupatia wananchi chakula. Na leo pia tumeleta mafuta ya diesel ya kuweka kwa magari ya kusafirisha maji.
Now in sports, Kenya national rugby sevens team Shijaz picked 7 points from Canada, an improvement from the single point they picked from last weekend's outing in Los Angeles. Shijaz have won 2 games in Vancouver, stunning South Africa 17-12 in the 9th place quarterfinal before edging out Spain 24-14 in the semis. Shijaz now are in the 13th position in the overall standings with 29 points behind Spain, who are in position 12 with 4 rounds left. World number 1 Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from next week's Indian Wells Master event. Djokovic is unable to enter United States since he is unvaccinated against COVID-19, but he had petitioned US authorities for special permission to enter. The Indian Wells event begins next week in the California desert and is followed by the prestigious tournament in Miami, which Djokovic is now expected to miss unless he gets permission from US authorities, and he will be replaced by Nicolas Basilashvili. Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag stated that his team showed unprofessional performance after they fell to a 7-0 defeat against Liverpool. Ten Hag also noted that his team played well in the first half and it was quite in control of the ball, but in the second half his team gave 2 goals away and that they did not stick to the plan. Former Ajax manager also said that his team is strong enough and they will reset and bounce back in winning ways.
The result is quite obvious. It's unprofessional, but I think it's a huge difference. In Brentford, we were 4-0 down at halftime, so we started the game very bad. Today, first half, I think we were the better team.
All right, it's a wrap from us here at the news desk. Many thanks indeed for keeping it at KU TV. Be sure to join me again tomorrow for the Primetime Bulletin, of course. My name is ODIDA. I'm in the company of ODIHIAMBO, who is a sign language interpreter tonight. Have a good night and see you tomorrow.